Hello, everybody. So we're going to start today the webinar. So let's start. So welcome to our webinar. Today we will the topic will be the project management in steel project PLM, which is called the project manager module. I'm Colin Mayman. I'm the sales manager of the company. The webinar will last around 30 minutes, perhaps less. If you have questions, there is a chat box in where you can write your question on the screen. So first of all, we're going to go through a little PowerPoint where we'll see the topic of today, and then I will jump into a steel project PLM to show you this module called Project Manager. So here is a tree of all the features available in our solution. So today we're going to focus on, well, what we call the project manager, which is up there, which is really the beginning of our solution, just after you import some CAD files coming from your drawing office. So it's really the first step available in our solution, the first module where you will go through. So we're gonna see today 2D and 3D visualization of secondary part coming from DSTB or XML or IFC format. The integrated drawing editor, the automatic part checking at two levels, at the level of the potential error that you can have in the CAD drawings, and the feasibility of every single components in your workshop, depending on the capacity of the workshop. We're going to see the multi-level project organization, the centralization of all project concerning the information, the traceability of revision, the tooling management, because we can manage all the tooling, the document management, of course, the structuration of all the profile data to determine a predefined workflow, the management of project status, and all of standard project. So let's jump into the software right now. So here is Steel Project PLM. So as I was telling you, we're going to focus on the project manager today. So I will open it, and we're going to see and check all what is available in this module. So here is Project Manager. When you import a project in Project Manager, you will see it. Every single line will be a project. Okay. So every single line is a project. A project is divided in 4 steps: the project, the drawing, the assemblies, and the component. You could add a 5th level in the project, which will be the contract. In this case, you will see it coming just before. So we're going to check that contract management here, validate. So if I add a 5th level here, if I go in Project Manager, I will see it up there: contract, project, drawing, assembly, and component. So now I've got 5 levels. The contract level is made to regroup in a contract different project. If you've got a customer giving you different project, you can add this contract level up there. So I'm going to take it off for my demo, but it's a possibility, as you see. So I take it off. Okay. Perfect. So I'm going back in my project manager now. So we've got different icon up there. Okay. So first, the selection will be to have a selection, to open the selection mode here down there. Phase could be to create some phases manually. So for those who are using Tekla and importing XML files or IFC files, you can draw in phases, usually in Tekla or in different drawing software. But when you import a project coming from the DSTB file, you could create on your own the phases directly into PLM, clicking this box here. We've got this tree here, opening a tree level there. So you can open each project and you will see for each project, for example, let's take this one, all the phases, all the assembly, and in every assembly, all the components. Okay, so we've got these three available here. The preview is to see a box of preview when you're looking at the components into the 3D. Well, the import is to import all the different files you want to import into Project Manager. We've got an icon called copy here, which will be useful to copy a project. So if I click on it, I will just say, okay, I want to copy this feature open house and call it feature open house 2. If I say, okay, I will make a copy here. Okay, very easy. Template project. Template project is to use some components of a standard project to create a new project. So here you can see on this project called electrical tower, there's a little file here telling it's template project. Means it's a project which I will repeat in time. It's a tower that I will repeat in time. Using template project tells that I can select a bunch of components or a bunch of phases of this project to create a new one. So I just have to click here on template project. Here, I will call a project. I will create a project called webinar test. Okay. I will create it, yes. And I will say, okay, from my template project electrical tower, I want to use, I don't know, for example, those 5 phases, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I will validate here. So out of this project, with this template project for me, I will create a new project taking all the phases I want. So I did create here a webinar test, and I can see that I've got my phases 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 of my electrical tower. Okay, so out of a standard project, you can create another project picking whatever you want. This synchronize icon is in case you've got an ERP connected with PLM, you can synchronize and compare what has been imported with from the ERP with what is in PLM. So you can compare what has been imported from the ERP is corresponding correctly to what is in the PLM. Nesting quantity, if I click on it, is showing you what has been nested out of every project. So we can see when it's red that nothing has been nested in this project. We can see in green that 100% of the project has been nested, or we can see here but partially has been nesting. Okay, we can see here that 500 component has been nested, 300 is pending, and the rest is not nested. Additional information here will show you additional information in the main screen here. So here we've got information about the project description manager. If I go on the right here, you see if I take it off, I've got no additional information. If I put it on, I've got information about the weight of my project, the average part weight, the surface, the number of parts, the number of drilling, marking, cutting, coping, all those kind of information you can see here at the level of every project. I've got a searching tool here to search whatever I want, an assembly, a component. So I just can put 21 here, for example, and try to see if I've got a component called 21. So it's a searching tool to search quickly whatever you want in all the projects you've got in front of your eyes. Okay, so that was for all what is up there. Now, we've got also some red figures here. What does it mean? I've got maximum length. I can define into a PLM a maximum length. So when I will import a project into PLM, for example, in my configuration, my maximum length is 15 meters. So whenever I've got a component which is over 15 meters in a project, it will highlight me in red that in this two project, I've got components over 15 meters. So the day I import my project, the first day I import my project, I already have an idea that I will have a problem in terms of shipping or expedition because I have a component which is over the maximum length I did determine in the software. That's a good way to control and to know quickly that in the future you will get a problem here. So that's quite interesting, especially for the shipping. So if I go on a project now, if I double click on a project, I've got different information about this project, right? To this feature per open house. I've got the name of the project, the description. I could give the name of a manager here. I've got the final date when the project should be finished. I've got a typology, okay? So I can create my typology telling it's a building, it's a bridge, it's a tower. Why? Because you can put restriction depending on the typology. For example, when you make a bridge in Europe, you're not allowed to punch when you make a bridge. So if you've got some punching and you declare it's a bridge, all the punching will be changed automatically in drilling. So the typology is useful for that. You've got a status here. In creation, in evaluation, awarded, to purchase, to produce, finished. Okay, so you can put a status to the project. You've got bunch on information also about the weight, total weight of this project, the surface in square meter, all the components of this project, all the assembly of this project. So you've got all this information coming from the importation. You also have a summary of the project of what is made of. So in terms of quantity, I can see that I've got 71% of R, which are plates. Okay, I've got 262 plates with the weight in front, and I've got it in detail, plate of 18, 20 millimeters, 8 millimeters, and so on. I've got this information in quantity, but also in weight. So here I can see that the weight is mainly done by the beams. So 71% of the weight is done by the beam. I've got information of lengths also here. So here is telling me how many components do I have between 0 and 1 meters in this project, 334. How many between 1 and 2, 2 and 3, and so on. Same information about weight. How many components between 0 and 5, 5 and 10, and so on, with number and percentage. So a bunch of information that could be useful for you when you import a project. You also have an information here in Sparth telling about what you need to do in the workshop to produce this project. So I know that I've got 365 assemblies, 50 coping, 103 cutting, number of drilling, outline, painting, and so on. So all what is necessary to do in the workshop to produce this project is detailed here. Here address is to put the address of a customer that you're working for. You can attach document linked to this project. So you can attach a PDF, you can attach an email, you can attach whatever kind of document and link it to this project. That can be for traceability, that can be for whatever. It will be kept in the memory of the server. You can put the contact of the customer, the name, and so on. Okay. So here I was on the project side. Now, if I go on components, if I click on components here, I will see all the components of my project. I can see them in 2D and 3D. Okay, so I can, if I pick this one, I can see it in 2D and 3D. And if I double click on my component, I will have a bunch of information about this component. So the name of the component, the quantity, the type of profile, the length, what group it's belonging to, it's a profile, it's a column, the material grade, when it's been created, the weight, the surface in square meter, all the tooling inside, 1 cut, 36 drilling. You can have the preview in 2D, okay, sub-assembly, so bunch of information, and you can also attach document linked to this piece. So you could attach a it number or traceability component linked to this component. So as we saw, you can see the components in 2D and 3D. When you import XML from Tekla or IFC file, you can also see the assembly in 3D. Okay. So here in my example, it's coming from an XML from Tekla. So I can see my assembly in 3D. Okay. So all my assembly, you can make zoom, you can make rotation. Okay. And you can see all of them in 3D. And if I go now in components, I will see the components making this assembly. So here I've got 4 components making this assembly. the masterpiece, you can see here as master part, and the secondary part here, which will be linked to this component. Okay, so what is interesting also is that we have a drawing tool in PLM, in Project Manager. So we've got a drawing tool here. So I'm going to take this project here, go in components. So when you see the 2D and 3D vision, if you double click on the 2D or on the 3D, the software will open a drawing tool. This drawing tool is quite powerful. You can do whatever you want. You can even draw a new piece from zero. Here in my example, I will just add some holes, for example, just to show you that it's quite easy. So you can put some holes on the web, center line. We will put holes here, diameter of 18 meters. Okay. Okay, and I will create some holes here that are coming there. Okay, I can create miters cut. Okay, I can say, okay, I want a miters cut here at the end of 25. Okay, and we will see that at the end of my component, I did create here some cuts. Okay, so you can create some coping, you can create some marking, you can even draw a new piece. You can, it's a really powerful drawing tool that you can use to make modifications. So here we can see my holes now here that were not here before, and a cut here at the end, miters cut. Okay, great. So this drawing tool can be useful for you when you want to make a quick modification before to send in production. If you don't want to go back to the Tekla model, to the AutoCAD model, or whatever drawing model you use, instead of going back, changing it, import it again, you can directly here make the changes very quickly. Okay. We've got also the possibility to make changes when you're on a component here. You can select, for example, all those components. You can make multi-selection, click right, and decide to make modification on the tools. For example, on the drilling. Okay, you can click drill, and you can say, okay, I want to substitute all my 18 millimeters drill to another side. So I will select drill and say, okay, I want them to be all 14. I will say okay and okay. So now all my 12 millimeters will be changed into 14 millimeters. So you can make multi-selection, can be the same for material grade. You could change material grade. You could change whatever you want very quickly, making multi-selection. There's another tool which is quite interesting here. It's called the revision. Okay, so in Project Manager, when you've got your project, we know that sometimes you make some changes. As we saw before, you can go on the components and make a change. So each time you make a change, you can create a revision. You will track what has been changed. So I will make an example here. If I click right on my project 03451, I will create a revision called webinar revision. Okay, and I will pick a component I want to modify here. So I will take whatever this one, for example. So I will go in the drawing. I will, okay, say, okay, I want to change the size of this one to 16.5 for whatever reason. I will save. And I could also change the length for whatever reason. Okay, from 35 to 36. So I did make some changes on this component. I go back to project, I double click on my project, and I will see here an icon called version telling me that today, date and hour, I did create a revision called webinar revision. I can compare it with version 0. Okay, so version 0, in fact, is the first day I did import my project. So my version 0 is here. My version 1 is here. If I expand, I will see all the component of my project, but if I want to see only what has been changed, I will click on difference here, and the software will pop up automatically that this piece P4 has been changed in this project. The previous length was 35, now it's 36. And I had holes of 12 and 14. Now I've got 12, 14, and 16.5. So each time you make a change, each time you make a revision in your project, you can make a quick modification here and keep it and track it. So 3 months later, 8 months later, 2 years later, you will be able to see what has been changed in this project and when. So you can create as many revisions as you want per project, okay? There's another tool which is very important in our software, which is this little icon, not checked. Okay, so if I click right, I can ask the software to check the parts of my project one by one. So what the software will do, it will check every component of this project one by one. At the level of the drawing to see if there's no problem on the drawing. Sometimes you can have a all half inside, half outside, or a marking which is half inside, half outside of the component. So it will check at the level of the drawing if everything's okay. But more important, you will check at the level of the workshop if you can produce these components. Why? Because we will tell the software, we will tell PLM, Steel Project PLM, which machine you've got in the workshop, which operations are available on the machine, tapping, drilling, punching, cutting, whatever, and all the tool available on the machine, drill of 12, 14, 15, and so on. So we will give all the resources of the machine into PLM. Thanks to this information, software will be able to tell you, okay, you can produce those pieces, or be careful, you will have a problem there. So here in my example, we can see I've got some mistake. So if I go back in my components here, what I will see that mainly all my components are all right with the green arrow, but I've got one which is with a mistake here. Okay, so I can see it's a tool mistake, a diameter mistake. So I can double click on my components here, and I've got an icon called error telling me that, okay, on this beam, I've got a tool of 16.5 millimeters. I've got a drill, sorry, of 16.5, but I don't have any tool of 16.5 able to make this drill. So it's just telling me, okay, I've got a tool mistake. I cannot make this diameter on this beam. So it's up to you then to make a modification thanks to the drawing tool as we saw before, or to take this piece out of the automatic process to make it manually. You can also force the system to accept the mistake. If you know it will be all right, you can trust the user of PLM. If I want to force it, I just have to click here, and I will see that Colin, myself, has validated today these components, date and hour. Okay, so when someone is sending mistake in production, you will see a little green arrow with a blue dot here telling you that it has been validated by your user. Okay. So that's quite an important tool. So when the project is all right, you don't have any more icon here. That means that it's ready to be sent in production, or it's ready to make a nesting. Then the next step and the last step here in Project Manager will be to take your project, slide it down in order to filter what you want to produce. So here I did slide down all my project with all different types of components, plate, beams, angles, and so on. I could take, of course, another project and slide it down also, because we are multi-project management in Steel Project PLM. So you could take 2 projects and slide them down. And the goal will be here to filter what you want to produce. So you will have a filter icon here. And you can say, okay, I want to filter only all the profile of those 2 projects. So here we'll have only profiles, I, U, H, no more angles, no more plates, no more other kind of profiles. And the goal behind that will be to make a fabrication job and to create a nesting out of those profiles. Okay, but I won't go deeper now, because I would enter another module, and today's topic is a project manager. So this filter is made to filter whatever you want, and it's a strong filter in the way that you can also filter by type of profile. So if I just click profile and IP, then I will have only IP here. No more U, no more H, only IP. So this filter is powerful and is made to select what you want to produce. Okay, so I think we saw all what is quite available in the project manager module. So if I go back on my PowerPoint, I just want to highlight all the advantages of such a project manager. So it's time saving because importing the project automatically and checking everything will make you earn time. It's flexible because you can select, make different filter. It's multi-selection. It will help you to prevent mistake, as we saw with the checking of the parts. You will send only correct pieces in production and no mistake. Reduction of paper and unnecessary trip on the workshop, thanks to our software. We will maximize the machine capacities, of course. Improve the traceability management because everything will be kept into PLM and into the server memory. And improve, of course, your organization because we will automatize everything thanks to Steel Project PLM. So thank you for your attention. It's 9:30, so it lasts 25 minutes as expected. So I don't know if you have question. If you have question, you can use the chat box. Otherwise, the webinar is over for today, and I thank you for participating. So we're just gonna wait 2 minutes to see if we've got some question popping up in the chat box. So just for your information, all those webinars will be available on our website. On our website, we've got a section called webinar, where you can find the past webinar we made last year, plus this one will be available soon. So you can review them and watch them whenever you want. So I think there is no question. So I thank you very much for today's webinar. I wish you a good day and speak to you soon. Bye.